when I went to that 14-page timeline and I inserted the dates that she had her 3 injections, it is so apparent that that is what made her sick. And we feel like that Grayson, it was
3 days before her.
3 days before she was to get her 5-year-old vaccine shots. And I really believe this child was a sick child at that time. She never slept. She had food allergies. She would have rashes around her mouth. And I really believe that God showed us what injured Jennifer so that she would not have any more vaccines, so that we would not lose Grayson.
We canceled her appointment within days, and
until
she
we
hasn't been back.
So yes,
so that makes it worth it.
Yes.
My name is Jennifer.
And take us back to what happened.
Okay, well, I am 30 years old now, and actually 5 years ago this month, I went to my OBGYN for my yearly checkup, and I was approached about the Gardasil vaccine, and just told that it was for sexually transmitted diseases, and I told them I was not interested in it at that point because I was actually married, so I was obviously in a monogamous relationship, and I had a 3-year-old daughter, so it wasn't something that I was concerned about. And the nurse practitioner proceeded to say to me, well, what if your husband has an affair? And I said, that's not something I'm concerned about, and again, just kind of tried to brush it away and ignore it. And
I can't believe she said that. What if your husband has an affair?
Yes, she did.
You're 25 years old.
I was 25 years old, and so I felt like I was kind of being bullied at that point, and she said, well, what if your husband passes away and you decide to remarry? And again, I was getting kind of agitated, and I said, I'm really not interested in this vaccine at this point, thank you for sharing it with me, but I'm just not interested. And then she said, well, it's also cancer prevention, and that got me. My mom is a breast cancer survivor, and so when she said the word cancer, I said, okay, this lady's not going to give up, I'll go ahead and get the vaccine. I've had other vaccines and, thought I was fine, so.
Did she tell you that it would prevent cancer?
She did. She said it was cancer prevention, which I later found out is not necessarily true. So I got my first dose that day, and within, I believe it was 48 hours, I actually ended up at the emergency room, and we thought it was my appendix. I had severe abdominal pain, was dizzy. That night was kind of a blur to me, but
yes.
I was overnight in the hospital, and
what they said that she had, they said she had a cyst on her ovaries that had ruptured.
Yes.
But there was just some fluid floating around. They couldn't prove it. But within 5 days, she went back to the OB/GYN as a follow-up.
Told her my issues, what had happened. She never once said that it could possibly be the Gardasil. I didn't make the connection. So a couple months later, I went back for my second dose, and again, within a couple days, I got sick again. But after a few weeks, I recovered. Again, still didn't make the connection that it was Gardasil. Went in April of 2012 and got the final dose. And I was never the same since. I have suffered from seizures. I will lose my vision and my peripheral vision in an eye for temporarily. It'll come back. Half of my body will go completely numb. Again, it comes back eventually. I have internal tremors.
She has constant brain fog.
Constant brain fog.
This is the symptoms you have now?
Oh, yes.
5 years later.
5
years later from having this, you have this terrible fog, vision issues,
seizures. Yes.
So you're having seizures?
Yes, I have seizure episodes, and like I said, internal tremors, insomnia. There's so many.
Fatigue, extreme fatigue.
Visual disturbances. I'll see black spots or specks constantly.
As her mum, what is the difference that you see in your daughter?
This is not my daughter. I always say that after that 3rd injection, I lost my daughter, the daughter that I once knew. I look in her eyes. People that don't know her wouldn't know this, but I look in her eyes and I can tell she's not there. She is not there mentally.
I'm doing a little better this year.
She is doing better,
this year.
But for 5 years, her daughter, who is 8 now, does not remember her mommy before she got sick.
So she was only 3.
And, so for her whole life, all she's known is mommy being sick, mommy being tired, mommy had to rest.
She's actually been with me alone at a point when I had a seizure, and she was so brave, and she sat right beside me and hugged me and called my mom to get there as quickly as she could, and she was so calm, and so she's a very courageous little girl. Tell her how old you are.
8. Well, you are a very brave girl.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for looking after your mummy.
She's a sweet girl. So, but yeah, it's been a roller coaster for 5 years. It's a new symptom, it seems like every month. And last year from August until April of this year, I had at least 1 to 2 seizures every month. I'm just finally getting to where maybe I haven't had one in a couple months, so hoping it stays that way.
And are there things that you can do that reduce the side effects from this ghastly vaccine?
Reduce side effects.
Yeah.
Definitely diet is a big one.
And
so,
what kind of a diet?
Gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, all of that will help.
Yeah, gluten-free people, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but for every vaccine, for every issue,
Yes.
it's a major
It is.
enhancer of side effects. It's
Yes.
just not, it's not okay.
I do a lot of juicing of fresh juices and vegetables and detox fasts, and I'm about to start working with a doctor that's going to do some more intense detoxing, so I'm hoping that doesn't bring symptoms out worse, but I know it might make me feel a little worse first. So.
What do you say to the parent? I mean, I was trying to talk to a parent the other day whose 17-year-old daughter wanted to have the Gardasil because they were so brainwashed at school.
Yes.
That
And the commercials
and
they
she
put
was
out there.
freaking out with her parents because
Yeah.
her parents were saying, we don't want you to have this, and she was saying, if I don't have this, I'm going to die and it'll be your fault. So what do you
Sounds
say
like
to
that commercial.
the
that they're playing.
17-year-old daughter, the girls of this world, or 13 upwards when they give it? What do you say to them?
I mean, what I usually say to people is to just do your research. You can always choose to vaccinate later. You can never unvaccinate and undo these side effects. So this is probably something that's going to be with me the rest of my life. I'm always going to suffer from symptoms. I will probably never be 100%. I think if people do their research and see that this is not what the doctors tell you, it's not a cancer preventative, it's, look at the ingredients, and just research those. You can get those directly off the CDC website and, research them and see if that's really something you're comfortable injecting into your body. And
someone here is saying quite rightly, look at the package insert.
Exactly.
Gardasil.
Yes, we had my daughter actually hold up the package insert when I did another interview before, and she was 5 years old at that time. It was as tall as her, and it was front to back, and I had never seen one before, and I was just, I don't know, speechless. Yeah.
Have you signed the bus?
Yes, and you guys actually signed the bus for me,
I-
because that's before I was aware you were coming. So.
Oh, right, okay,
Yes.
so we've signed it for you, good.
$15.98.
People are having their numbers tattooed on their bodies.
Oh, wow.
It's more than I would go. I've tried needles, so I can't do that.
Yeah, she won't be having it tattooed. No.
Now, how do you feel? How do you feel about everything?
What do you
that's
think about what Mommy's been through and you've been through, and
I don't like it.
you don't like it? Has it been hard? Yeah.
Have
You've
you
been
had-
so brave, huh?
Have you had vaccines since then?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
No more, huh?
It took us about 2 years to figure out that it was actually the Gardasil. We believed doctors. We believed what they said. It literally took 2 years. It wasn't until August 26th of 2013 that I was like, what has made my healthy daughter sick? And I ordered all of her medical records. I did a 14-page timeline. I was researching and digging, and one day I stumbled upon something on Facebook about Gardasil, and I thought, oh my gosh, we never considered that could have caused her injuries. When I went to that 14-page timeline and I inserted the dates that she had her 3
It was so
injections,
apparent.
it is so apparent that is what made her sick. And we feel like that Grayson, she
It was
was
3 days before her.
3 days before she was to get her 5-year-old vaccine shots. And I really believe this child was a sick child at that time. She never slept. She had food allergies. She would have rashes around her mouth. And I really believe that God showed us what injured Jennifer so that she would not have any more vaccines, so
Yeah,
that we would
so
not
called
lose
and canceled her
Grayson
appointment within days, and she
until
hasn't
we
been
could
back.
research.
so.
Yes.
So that makes it worth it.
Yes, and so she is very healthy,
Yep,
healthy
much better than she ever
8-year-old
was
now.
before. Yep.
And now if we can just get Mommy healthy, and we're still working on it.
Well, you're a wonderful family, and I'm so sorry about what happened to you. It's just,
I'm
there's
sorry
none of
about what
that is-
happened to you and your family.
Yeah, all these lives that could have been something else. And